So when you hear the word miracle, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Oh, for most people, it's something huge, something impossible.
I'm willing to bet actual money it goes straight to the Hollywood version,
Yeah.
right? Cecil B. DeMille style.
The parting of the Red Sea, definitely.
Exactly. The Red Sea parting, statues crying blood, or maybe just finding a parking spot in downtown Manhattan on a rainy Friday.
That would be a modern miracle for sure.
Right. We're conditioned to think of them as these impossible external events where the laws of physics just, I don't know, take a coffee break.
That's the cultural default, isn't it? It's the lightning bolt from the sky theory. It's something the universe does to us.
But today, we are basically tossing that whole definition into the shredder. We're doing a deep dive into Chapter 1 of the text, and specifically a section called The 50 Principles of Miracles.
And it is not what people expect.
Not at all. I mean, looking at this, it doesn't read like folklore. It reads more like a legal contract or a really dense software manual. It just opens with 50 hard-hitting claims, bang, right in a row, zero warm-up.
It really does come out swinging. And I think it's crucial to frame this correctly for everyone listening before we get into the weeds.
Okay.
The source material presents itself as a course in mind training. So these 50 principles, they're not really religious dogmas in the way we usually think of them. They're more like axioms.
Like in geometry, the foundational rule.
Exactly. If you want to understand this new thought system, you have to sort of accept these premises first. And some of them are, frankly, completely disorienting compared to how we live.
Disorienting is putting it mildly. I was highlighting this and thinking, okay, it's reversing everything. The whole mission here seems to be a total rebranding of the miracle. It wants to move us from seeing them as these rare external shows to seeing them as natural internal habits.
That is the headline right there. We are shifting from the miracle as a visual special effect to the miracle as a shift in perception.
So we've got 50 of these to synthesize. We have to cover why this text claims there's no such thing as a hard miracle, how they supposedly turn us into time travelers, and this is a good one, why trying to perform a miracle on purpose might actually be a bad idea.
It's a dense list, so where do we start?
Let's start with the definition itself, because Principle 6 just threw me for a loop immediately. It says miracles are natural. When they do not occur, something has gone wrong.
It just flips the baseline, doesn't it?
Completely. I mean, think about our lives. Normal life is paying bills, dealing with traffic, stress, getting sick. The miracle is the weird exception. This is arguing the total opposite. The miracle is the factory setting.
And to get why, you have to look right at Principle 3. It defines the miracle really simply as an expression of love. The text argues that the natural state of your mind, your operating system, if you will, is pure love. So if you're running the software correctly, miracles should just be flowing constantly.
So they're like breathing.
They're like breathing. You don't think about it, you just do it. If you stop breathing, that's when you panic. That's when something has gone wrong.
So the miracle isn't necessarily the cancer being cured or the check suddenly arriving in the mail. It's the internal state that leads to that.
The text actually says the real miracle is the love that inspires them. The external result, the healing, the check, that's just the wrapper. We get obsessed with the wrapper, but the text is focused entirely on the content.
If the mind is right, the external just follows.
Yes, it resolves itself.
Okay, but this brings us to what I think is the biggest hurdle in the whole list. I read this and my skeptical alarm bells just went off. Principle 1.
This is usually where people close a book.
Can you blame them? It says there is no order of difficulty in miracles. Then it says one is not harder or bigger than another. But let's be real for a second. If I have a headache and I meditate and it goes away, that's nice. If someone has stage 4 terminal cancer and it just vanishes, that's monumental. How can the text claim those are the same?
And that's a valid skepticism if you view the world as purely physical. If it's just bodies and atoms, then yes, of course, a big tumor is harder to move than a tension headache.
Sure.
But remember, this is mind training. And you have to look at Principle 29. It says, the miracle makes no distinction among degrees of misperception.
Okay, break that down for me. Degrees of misperception.
All right, imagine you're editing a document on your computer.
Yeah.
You see a typo. Maybe it's a tiny 2-letter word like at that's misspelled. Or maybe it's a massive 20-letter word that's completely wrong. To the computer, deleting the small word and deleting the big word takes the exact same amount of energy.
Because it's just data. It's just pixels on a screen.
Precisely. The text views our problems, sickness, conflict, poverty,
Yeah.
not as these heavy physical weights we have to lift, but as data errors. They're misperceptions.
We're the ones who rank them.
We rank them by fear. We say, oh, cancer's terrifying, so it's a big error. Or my bankruptcy's a huge problem, so it's a hard error. But the miracle, acting as the correction mechanism, just sees a bug in the code. He doesn't care how scary the bug is to the user. It just hits delete.
So the whole hierarchy of hard and easy is just something we projected onto the problem out of fear?
Yes. And principle 1 ends with this very specific phrase. All expressions of love are maximal. You can't have a small miracle because you can't have a little bit of total love. It's binary. It's on or off.
Which leads us into this warning the text gives, which I found really interesting, distinguishing between miracles and magic.
Ah, yes.
In fantasy novels, those are the same thing, right? But here, they seem to be enemies. Principle 14 says miracles bear witness to truth, but without conviction, they deteriorate into magic, which is mindless.
This is so vital to understand. In this system, magic has a very specific and negative definition. Magic is trying to solve a problem where the problem isn't.
What does that mean?
It's attempting to fix the external world without changing your internal mind. It's what the text calls the uncreative use of mind.
Can you give me a concrete example of magic in this context?
Okay, let's use the projector analogy. Your mind is the projector, the world you see is the screen.
Got it.
If you're watching a movie and you don't like the main character, magic is running up to the movie screen and trying to scrub the image off with a cloth. You're yelling at the screen, trying to force it to change.
Which is exhausting and accomplishes nothing.
Exactly, because the image isn't on the screen, it's coming from the lens. A miracle is going back to the projector and changing the film.
So magic is believing that if I just manipulate my body or the world or other people enough, I'll be happy.
And a miracle is realizing that if you change your mind, the world adjusts.
That clarifies Principle 10, then. It warns against using miracles as spectacles to induce belief. So if I'm trying to do a miracle just to prove I have power...
That's scrubbing the screen. That's ego. That's magic. You're using spiritual power for a physical result to impress people. A true miracle is just this involuntary outflow of a corrected mind. It's not a parlor trick.
Okay, so if we're changing the film in the projector, what's actually happening mechanically? You mentioned correction. Principle 37 calls the miracle a correction introduced into false thinking.
Yes. It acts as a catalyst. It breaks up that erroneous perception, the fear, the judgment, the story of being a victim, and it reorganizes it.
But this gets pretty trippy in the text. I mean, Principle 12 says miracles are thoughts, which is fine. But then Principle 17 claims miracles transcend the body and are sudden shifts into invisibility. I read shifts into invisibility, and I'm thinking, H.G. Wells or Harry Potter cloaking devices. What are we actually talking about here?
It's not about physically disappearing. It's about attention. Think about when you're in severe pain or when you're absolutely furious at someone. What is your focus on?
Oh, it's 100% on the pain. Or the person. It takes over my whole world.
Right. It dominates your reality. The body and its problems become hypervisible. A miracle shifts your awareness so drastically that the body's demands, they become invisible to your mind for a moment.
You stop seeing the physical limit.
You stop seeing the limit and start seeing the spiritual potential. It reawakens the awareness that the spirit, not the body, is the altar of truth, as Principle 20 says.
So the body just fades into the background.
Exactly. It stops being the boss.
So healing the body, like actual physical healing, how does that happen? Is it just a side effect?
Principle 23 explains that miracles place all levels in true perspective. Sickness, it argues, comes from confusing the levels.
Meaning what?
Meaning thinking the body is the creator and the mind is just the victim. Like your body just randomly decides to get sick and your mind has to deal with it. The miracle flips that back. The mind is the creator. The body is the screen. You fix the mind, the body naturally adjusts.
That leads to probably the most empowering, but also maybe the most terrifying statement in the list, Principle 24.
It's not pulling any punches, is it?
Not at all. You are a miracle, capable of creating in the likeness of your creator. Everything else is your own nightmare and does not exist.
It's saying your true identity is the miracle. You are a creation of love. The conflict, the sickness, the drama, those are the nightmares we've manufactured because we forgot who we are.
The miracle doesn't just fix a problem then. It wakes you up from the nightmare.
Which implies that if you're not experiencing a miracle, you're actively dreaming a nightmare.
Yeah.
And you're the one writing the script, which means you can stop.
That is a lot of responsibility. But let's pivot to the sci-fi element I teased, time. The text has a really unique relationship with time. Principle 13 says miracles undo the past and the present and thus release the future.
This is where it really challenges our linear view of life. We think, okay, I messed up 10 years ago, I did something terrible, so I'm suffering now, and I'll probably suffer tomorrow because of it.
Right, cause and effect. If I break a vase, the vase is broken.
But Principle 15 calls time a teaching device. It's just a tool. And the
Yeah.
miracle, well, it collapses time.
Collapses it how? I can't go back and unbreak the vase. I can't unsay that mean thing I said 5 years ago.
Physically, maybe not. But the effect of that past, the guilt, the grievance, the pain, is living in your mind right now.
Oh,
That's what chains you to the past. The past isn't back there, it's right here in your memory. When a miracle occurs, when you truly shift your perception and forgive, you dissolve the consequences of that past error in the present moment.
you're deleting the old data again.
And by doing that, you save time. Principle 47 says the miracle establishes an out-of-pattern time interval.
What does that even mean?
Think of it this way. You could spend the next 10 years holding a grudge, learning very, very slowly through pain that anger only hurts you. That's the long road.
The scenic route of suffering.
Exactly. Or you could have kept a miracle right now. Forgive completely and just skip those 10 years of suffering. You literally save the time you would have wasted on pain.
So the miracle is a wormhole.
It is a wormhole. It bridges the gap between the problem and the solution instantly. And that's why Principle 26 links miracles to atonement.
Okay, but atonement is a loaded word. For most people, that implies paying for sin. You did the crime, now you do the time.
Penance, sacrifice, yeah. But the text completely redefines it. Here, atonement means undoing. It is not payment, it is correction.
So how does that work?
Principle 39 uses this beautiful image. The miracle dissolves error because the Holy Spirit identifies the error as false or unreal.
Can we get an analogy for undoing versus the way we normally think of forgiving?
Sure. Imagine a child thinks there's a monster in their closet. They're terrified. Traditional forgiveness might be saying, okay, there's a monster, but I'll be brave and live with it. You're managing the fear.
But the monster's still there.
Right. Undoing. The miracle is turning on the light and realizing the monster is just a winter coat hanging on a chair. You don't have to fight the coat. You don't have to forgive the coat. You just see that the monster never existed.
And the fear just vanishes.
It vanishes because the cause was false. And all the time you had spent being scared is just saved.
Okay, I want to bring this down to brass tacks. We have the theory. We know it's about changing the film, not the screen. It collapses time. But how do we do this? We talked about habits. Principle 5 says miracles should be involuntary.
And this is a major caution flag for the high achievers out there. It says, consciously selected miracles can be misguided.
Meaning,
If you walk around thinking, okay, I'm going to perform a miracle on you, but not you, and I'm going to fix that problem, well, that's just the ego playing God again.
so we shouldn't be trying to be miracle snipers picking our targets.
No, you want to be a Wi-Fi hotspot.
A Wi-Fi hotspot.
Think about it. A Wi-Fi hotspot doesn't choose who connects. It doesn't say, I like your phone, but not his laptop. It just transmits the signal.
Okay, I like that.
Principle 43 talks about being in a state of miracle readiness. You cultivate the mindset of love and forgiveness within yourself, and then the miracles happen through you, often without you even knowing it.
That actually takes the pressure off. I don't have to save the world. I just have to keep my own signal strong.
And Principle 45 even says, a miracle may touch many people you have not even met. It ripples out. This solves that problem of isolation.
Ah, right. Principle 42 points out that miracles release us from a false sense of isolation, deprivation, and lack. That feeling of me against the world.
Exactly. Because when you offer a miracle, which Principle 18 calls a service, you're acknowledging the other person is worth loving. And since you're the one giving it, you must have love to give. It proves you're not empty and you're not alone.
So is the end game just to sit around floating on a cloud of miracles forever?
Surprisingly, no. The text is very pragmatic. Principle 46 says miracles are temporary communication devices.
Temporary.
Think about why we need a bridge. We need a bridge because there's a gap. We need miracles because we think there's a separation from the Creator. The miracle is the bridge back. But once we're back, once perception is fully healed,
You don't need the bridge anymore.
you don't need the medicine once you're cured. Principle 41 says wholeness is the perceptual content of miracles. Once you realize you are whole, you don't need a correction mechanism. You just are.
It's a wildly cohesive system for something that starts with such bold, almost aggressive claims. It really does strip away the magic and replaces it with a a psychological overhaul.
It is mind training,
Mm.
pure and simple. Not about magic wands. It's about discipline of thought.
So to recap here, the text is asking us to stop looking for lightning bolts and start looking for shifts in perception, to realize that big problems and small problems are just data errors that love corrects equally.
Like correcting a typo. And it's offering us a way to collapse the time we spend suffering by undoing the fear right now.
And ultimately, to wake up from the nightmare of separation.
That's the goal.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with one final thought from the list. We've covered a lot, but Principle 50, the last one, really sums up the mechanism for how we should judge our own lives.
It's a powerful rubric and says, the miracle compares what you have made with creation, accepting what is in accord with it as true and rejecting what is out of accord as false.
What you have made versus creation. It's asking us to look at our stress, our anger, our dramas, and ask, did I make this up? Is this part of the nightmare, or is this true?
And if it's a nightmare, the miracle allows you to reject it, not fight it. Just recognize it as false, like the code on the chair.
So here's your challenge for the week. Go back to Principle 1. There is no order of difficulty. Look at that one problem in your life, the one you've labeled impossible or too big, the one you put in the hard basket.
And ask yourself, what would happen if I treated this like a simple typo instead of a terminal failure? What if I just applied the eraser of love to this the same way I would to a small annoyance?
Let us know what happens when you shift that perception. Thanks for swimming in the deep end with us today.
Always a pleasure.